If choosing a niche has felt way heavier than it should, like you're just making the wrong decision and it could ruin everything, hey, take a breath. You're not overthinking. You're just missing a simple framework for how to do it the right way. Hey, I'm Candy Motzek from She Coaches Coaches, and this is the Foundation Series. This series is built around one core idea: clarity before clients. Because when you get clear on the right things in the right order, everything else gets easier. These episodes are for thoughtful, capable coaches who want a simple, grounded path to building a coaching business that works without the overwhelm, without burning out, and without guessing what to do next. If you've been stuck in what I call niche drama, this episode is going to be a relief. You know the questions. Do I really need a niche? What if I choose the wrong one? What if I box myself in? What happens when I outgrow it? What if I don't feel ready to decide? Okay, if any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is one of the most common places that coaches get stuck. And it's one of the easiest places to simplify once you understand what actually matters. So let's start there. You don't need the perfect niche to start coaching. You don't need to get this right forever. You don't need to wait for clarity to magically appear. What you do need is a clear problem that real people already want help solving. So let's just pause there. And I'm going to repeat this because it's important. What you do need is a clear problem that real people already want help solving. That's it. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop overthinking your niche, how to choose something simple and workable, and get moving forward with confidence instead of spending your time spinning and second guessing. If you want to follow along, there is a workbook and the full free course, and I've put the link for that in the episode notes. And if at any point you want to talk through your personal situation and map out your next steps, you can book a call with me. I'll put that link in the episode notes too. All right, let's untangle this niche thing. So here's why niche confusion matters. If you don't know what problem you solve, your potential clients won't either. And when people can't understand what you do in a sentence, they're just not going to hire you. Clarity beats clever every time. Most coaches think that niche is about who they are. Who am I as a coach? As if we could ever distill every aspect of you into one niche. You are so much more than that. The other thing that gets in the way is you think that you need to choose a niche and it's going to be permanent, that it is forever and ever. But the niche isn't about you and it's not permanent. Niche is about the problem you help them solve or the goal you help them achieve. When you shift your focus from being about you and your identity to a problem that you help them with, everything else gets simpler. So instead, ask yourself this: what problem do I know how to help someone move through? Now, let me say something important. You are not choosing a niche for life. You're choosing a niche as a starting point. Clarity comes from action, not from waiting. So let's talk about how to choose a problem that actually leads to getting paid clients. Here is a simple exercise. Think about the people you most want to help. They could be professionals in transition, or busy parents, or entrepreneurs, or women in midlife. And then write down 3 to 5 problems that those people are actively struggling with. Not vague desires, but real problems. Things like, I'm burned out and exhausted, or I hate my job and I want to make a change. I don't have the confidence speaking up in meetings. Those are real problems, real life problems. Once you have that list, circle one problem that meets 2 criteria. So you're going to circle one of those problems that meets both of these criteria. The first, you know how to help them. And the second, it feels urgent for them. Pause. Take a moment here and write this down before you move on. I want you to circle a problem that has two pieces to it. One, you know how to help them. The second, it feels urgent for them. That is a great starting niche. Now, we're going to talk about urgency because this is another place that coaches unintentionally choose a niche that makes it hard to sign clients because not all problems feel the same to the client. Some problems are a need to have, others are nice to have. Now, both are meaningful, but they behave very differently when it comes to signing clients. So let's start with those need to have problems. These are problems where the cost of not solving them feels high. So, a good example of this would be career transition. Someone who hates their job or feels stuck professionally, gosh, they're often feeling real pressure. Their income is on the line, their daily well being, the quality of their relationships, how they feel about themselves. So, career transition can feel very urgent. Another can be health or even weight. When your energy is low or your health is at risk, people know that waiting to solve those challenges has got consequences. Another one that we often see is business and executive coaching. Things about revenue and performance and leadership and growth, they're all tied up in that business and executive coaching area. So you see those examples. The urgency is built in. So that means that the return on investment for coaching is clear and people are actively looking for help. So now let's go and talk about those nice to have problems. These are problems that people do care about, but they often put off, they postpone them. One great example is creativity, writing, painting, or exploring their own creativity. It sounds wonderful and like so much fun, but many people think, well, that sounds good, but I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later when the kids are finished with school. I'll get to it later when I've got that promotion. You see what I mean? It's they like the idea, it's a nice to have, but it's not urgent. Another one that falls into this area is something like life balance. Everybody wants balance, but when life gets busy, it often gets pushed to the side. So if your niche falls in that nice to have category, it doesn't mean that it's unimportant or unworthy, but it does mean that you're going to need to frame it differently. Must have or big problem. It's easier to sign clients than it is with a nice to have problem. People pay for urgency and outcomes. So the idea here is, can you reword that nice to have niche in a more urgent way? This is a bit of an advanced move, and you might need to think about it a little bit more. But here's a couple of examples. So, if you want to shift that nice to have so it feels more urgent, you could explain it in a different way so people understand the longer term reason for it. So, for example, instead of, I help people be more creative, which is wonderful and a nice to have niche, you could rephrase it by saying something like this: I help professionals use creativity to reduce stress and solve problems so they're more effective at work. So, do you see? It's still creativity, but it's put in a different way so people understand, oh, what is the longer term result of that? Another might be, I help people find balance. Again, a really nice to have niche, not a must have niche, right? And you could rephrase that to say, I help high achievers prevent burnout so they can keep their careers and still have energy for their lives. So you see that? We're still doing the same thing, helping someone create balance in their life, but there's a reason why it's more urgent now. Same skills, same heart, different framing. And that framing really matters because clarity creates trust, and trust leads to clients. So now let's make this more concrete. Here's a few clear examples of problem based niches. I help busy moms lose their first 10 pounds without deprivation, right? That's clear. Or I help female physicians reclaim 2 hours a week to manage stress and improve relationships. Notice what happens with these. They're specific, They're tangible, they focus on a problem and on an outcome. They are not vague, they're very clear. They're not clever, they're very clear. This is the kind of thing you are aiming for. Now, I want to take a minute here and speak directly to the part of you that might still be hesitating. The part that says, but what if I choose the wrong niche? Here's the truth. You're going to learn more from choosing one problem and testing it than you will from months of thinking. Every successful coach that you look up to has refined their niche through action, through coaching, through time with people, not through waiting. And let me just give you permission right here. You have permission to choose a niche and then evolve. You're allowed to adjust. You are allowed to learn. So here's your action for today. Grab your journal and write down 3 problems you could help solve, and then choose one. That's the problem you will build your first offer around. That is your niche for now. You notice that? Niche for now, not niche for forever. This is not your forever decision. It is a starting decision, and starting is how clarity is built. If you want extra help with this, I've shared a tool in the episode notes that make choosing an aligned niche easier. It's a custom GPT that I've created that you can use to work through some great niche choices for yourself, customized to your skills, your interests, and your experience. And I've put the link for that custom GPT in the episode notes. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to show you why so many coaches stay invisible, even when they're really good at what they do, and how a simple offer changes everything. Listen in, and we're going to take that problem you just chose, that niche, and turn it into your very first coaching offer, is where your business is really going to start to take off. Now, if you want this full step-by-step course and the workbook, you can get it through the episode notes. I've put the link there for you. And if you'd like to talk through your personal situation, maybe you want to map out a clear, quick plan forward, you can always book a call with me. I've put the link in the notes there for you too. Progress over perfection, my friend. And when you build that foundation once, everything else is going to be easier. Now, before you go, I need to be completely honest about something. You now understand how to choose a problem-based niche that people actually pay to solve. But here's what I've learned from coaching hundreds of coaches. Knowing how to choose a niche and knowing how to position it so people immediately understand why they need your help is a completely different challenge. Most coaches hear this episode and think, great, I'll just pick a clear problem and I'm done. Then they spend weeks crafting language that sounds logical to them, but doesn't create urgency for their dream clients. Or they choose a great problem, but describe it in a way that feels generic instead of compelling. The real challenge isn't picking the problem. It's the market research that reveals which problems people are actually looking for help with right now and how to talk about them in a way that speaks to your dream client. That's exactly why I created my free 8 days Stop Guessing and Start Signing Clients course. Day 3 doesn't just help you choose a niche, it walks you through questions that reveal which problems people pay premium rates to solve, the exact language, frameworks that create urgency, and how to test your positioning so you know that it's working before you invest months in the wrong message. This course includes templates, formulas, and a validation process that takes you from thinking, I think this might work, to I know people want to help with this solution. If you're tired of second guessing every decision and you're ready to move past analysis paralysis, it's time to stop guessing and start choosing a niche that actually converts. Grab the free course in the episode notes. Day 3 shows you exactly how to validate and position your chosen niche so it immediately attracts your dream clients. You've got this. Now let's make sure your niche actually draws people in instead of leaving them confused.